So, but the purpose of this is put everybody in a Zen mood to listen to the podcast.
Yeah. It's just Zen music just to get you into the mood. Welcome, everybody, to the X-Foils podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and joining us once again.
Yep.
I'm sitting here with Ronan and his older son, Mateo.
Hello.
And I've actually gotten to know Mateo a little bit more this past week because he's starting to help me out in the shop. He's going to be my window cleaner.
At your
No.
service.
He said you pay well.
Yeah, we'll see. He doesn't know how paychecks work, huh? Minus this,
Not yet.
minus that, minus this, minus that, you know? A little foil here, a little foil there,
Yeah.
and you're going to be into debt. That's how it works at a surf shop.
As long as he says like 75% off on any merchandise, you get to go.
Yeah, it's all 75% off. Thanks for joining me, guys.
You're
You guys are big-time foilers in the Ocean Park area and beyond. And I remember meeting you really early on when we first moved here. You were kiting, and you were kite foiling, I think, exclusively at that point.
I was winging, and then you started to grab a gear just after me.
Oh, the winging, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean when I first moved
Oh,
here,
yeah,
you
yeah,
were
yeah.
still kite foiling at
Yeah, I
that
was
point.
kite foiling. Yeah.
These guys were. Is that you or me? Oh, that's
No,
me.
that's you.
Damn. All right, we're back on track.
Yep.
So you guys just came from a session, right?
Yeah.
You were running here. You guys even showered for me.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Trying
Thank
to
you.
get all the cream out. That was
All the
tough.
sunscreen out.
How was it? How was
That
your
was
session?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super fun. Super windy, so easy to get up on the foil and going straight to the outer reefs to have fun with the waves.
And I was
Super nice.
actually thinking of you because
Thank you.
they were not quite breaking, but
Yeah.
rolling.
Yeah.
And with the wind, we were like just foiling without actually the wing for the
So
longest time.
Downwind vibes.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And you guys were heading in towards shore out at the reef, or you were outside, like heading along the coast?
Yeah, no, we stayed in Waimea,
Okay.
so catching a wave in Waimea and then trying to go as far as we could.
Nice.
Yeah, super fun.
What about your other son, your brother? Was he also winging? He's like
still
getting on
he's-
track.
He's still learning, so like everybody else learning is kind of challenging at first.
Yeah.
Walk of shame is never fun,
No,
so he's still in that
but
process.
that's why you have family, right?
Yeah,
To,
so
to
for me-
mule the equipment or ride it
Yeah.
upwind, which is super nice.
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody riding my gear upwind for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before the electrical pump that now I love,
Oh, the electric pump.
I will never pump a kite again, ever. No way.
He was telling me about it today.
He had to pump like
He was
three
like, I was
wings.
pumping everybody's wings,
Everyone.
but I love this electric pump.
Yeah. And I was carrying,
Lifesaver.
but I was carrying his board,
yeah.
Nonet's board. So there was kind of a share. Actually, I probably had actually the easiest.
Yeah. I just
Job
had to
between the
pump.
two.
My dad would carry his equipment.
So I would follow him and then drop my gear, like help him out, run back to my gear, come back, and do it again and again. So,
Nice.
but soon, hopefully, it's gonna be over.
Yeah. Normally we're drinking beer during this podcast, but you brought a minor,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
No, and then it's against my religion, so
That's not true. You just don't drink, huh?
so
No.
not a drop.
So how was it teaching all of these guys? Because dealing with family and teaching, your family members a sport is not always the easiest, because I know that there's very little reserve, between how comfortable you are with a family member and how upset you can be, and how
that's-
how tones can be, how frustration can get over the edge. Because I remember you were teaching Mateo how to kite
Yeah.
back in the day
Yeah.
before the winging thing was happening, and you're getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you fully, took off with it. Then the winging came, and that was it,
Yeah.
right?
No, I mean, I got to the level where, like, I'll be able to get up on the kite, go up. I could even go upwind and everything, but I didn't get to the level where I could go up with the waves and surf it, but I got the hang of it. But the moment my dad started winging, I got very interested in it, and then it just, it took me a couple of days, and once I had it, never kiting again, just winging.
Just winging, huh?
Yeah, just winging, yeah.
Well, some people know how to do tricks, jump
Yeah.
high, and then
with what the kite.
yeah, kite.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then that's their main thing. When it's really cranking the wind, that's all they want to do. Or when it's not about jumping, sometimes they like racing, going as fast as they can. For him, he was always like me. It's all about
The
trying
waves.
to ride the waves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So badly, or
Yeah, because
but
both of you guys, um, Mateo and
Nolan,
Nolan,
yeah,
really good surfers, right?
Yeah.
they compete. They part of the Puerto Rican
The federation with
the
the Puerto
federation.
Rican Federation.
So every time there is a competition, they actually Nolan just started.
Okay.
He didn't want to do it before. He was kind of impressed, stressed, wasn't sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
And
love competition
and
really. I never really got into it. It's not really my style.
but it really depends how it's made though, because I saw you doing some competition foiling in I don't know if it
Oh
was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Saint
yeah.
Augustine, and I think it's a
Cocoa
a
Beach, yeah.
little different vibe where like it's really not you starving and you really need a sponsor,
Yeah, no, for
so
sure.
you
for
just
sure.
hate everybody else. uh, but actually, I like their competition because all the parents they're pretty supportive, going every time they have to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
And the
be
other kids,
involved.
it's a matter of they cheer each other.
Yeah, and like you enter into
Eh,
this community of like the competition and all the kids, we all know each other. And I mean, we're all friends. And when it comes to the competition, like we get serious, but even when we're like out in the lineup waiting for the wave to come, sometimes we make a joke about it or we have fun still. So it's just how you approach competition.
Yeah.
That's what's
And they go to
important.
the best surf spot, and they have the whole day for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no like 50 people in the lineup.
Yeah, we got like
Just
30 minutes
three
just
or
for
four
ourselves.
guys.
It's perfect.
Yeah, that's a cool
So-
thing. Like when I'm watching the surfing or the kiteboarding, the wing foiling, these like big air competitions,
Yeah.
you see them.
Yeah.
They have the Red Bull King of the Air. They have the
whole
whole
thing.
bay to themselves. They can do whatever tricks they want and fly down. They don't have to watch out for everybody. And I guess the
Yeah.
same with surfing. You get to have that exclusive spot.
Yeah.
Because it gets pretty crowded. I was impressed the competition you did, because the waves were so small.
Oh, it's crazy.
Everybody was trying to grab like 1 or 2 footer
Yeah, into a sandbar.
and then to a sandbar and make that quick turn to be able to pump
It's-
back into everybody else that was trying to do the
I
same.
know it's
And
carnage.
and I was like, wow.
This year it was the what is it called? The FSLR, something like
Yeah.
that. Foil Surf Race League.
Yeah.
Took me years to learn that.
You coming prepared. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but this year there were so many people
Yeah,
that
no.
that were participating. Yeah, running into the water with 40 foilers trying to catch the same wave and race down the coast.
You still mature enough to try to avoid to
Yeah,
endanger the life of somebody else.
yeah. I
But
didn't
it
get.
looks so crowded that
I
I was
know.
like, even though with this mentality of like trying to be safe,
Yeah,
it must have been quite hard.
I was wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I saw that. But I saw also like not too many other
No, I
competitors
think
were wearing.
I think out of 100 people, let's say,
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
were wearing a helmet, which
So-
is
That's crazy.
pretty surprising
I
in
mean, yeah.
coming from foiling, surfing. It's just not. I don't know. It's not cool enough yet. But now you see
But
it.
now, like,
Well,
You start to see it, right? Kai Lenny.
Kailani made his video explaining how important the helmet is.
I still don't
And-
see him wearing it.
Yeah.
but good
yeah.
video, Kai.
yeah, but at least like not to everybody's got his skill level too.
Of course, no, of course.
So I mean, it takes a lot, maybe more dangerous than anybody else because that's his job. So that's what he does. But yeah, the helmet I guess is something else you have to carry with you. They forgot one yesterday in Laucho. So somebody else called me and said, "Yeah,
Oh yeah, I saw that on
we
the
have a helmet."
on this
I
like
was like, and I
Facebook.
look at them, and so one is saying, "No, that's him," and then the other one is like, "No, I'm sure it's him." I was like, "Who it is?"
So who was it?
It was my little brother. It was Nolan.
Because
He
he's not
blamed it
here.
on me and everything. First thing he said it was Mateo. Nah.
So
It's
but,
a lot of gear to take to
Yeah.
keep track of between all you guys.
Yeah, but I think the helmet though, not only they have to be semi cool, which I think they will never be, but doesn't really matter. but the comfort before they were not. You really had to have the perfect size. You made me try a Mystic that I was actually pretty good because you could really adjust it to your skull.
Yeah, the Vandal Pro, it's like a 360. It tightens
Yeah.
around your whole
And
head. I got your size in stock
I,
now, so
I really like that. The only thing missing,
is a little
though,
visor, huh?
because when you say like really like 3 4 hours in towards the sun, I mean that helps a lot.
Yeah.
And then especially if you have blue eyes, light skin. Uh,
All you guys.
So that's why so far I didn't go that way, even though if I feel that that would be a lot safer
But you have
than
the soft shell, but it's
yeah.
the visor's like a
Yeah.
quarter inch.
Yeah.
Is it helping?
Oh no, my visor,
N-
I actually.
No, the helmet, that helmet, like the
Yeah.
soft one he
Oh
was
yeah,
wearing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
It's got like a little
But the thing
lip.
is, like, I had to decide because me, I took the hat from a surfing
Yeah.
company, and then I cut a protection piece from basketball
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
technology, what the kids they
Mhm.
put it together, so it's better than nothing, but definitely not
It won't
as
protect.
good as
Yeah.
their helmet.
Yeah.
So
I
because
mean, it's a
want the
tiny little plastic
because
sheet.
because
I
I
mean, yeah.
want the sun protection.
Yeah.
So
But definitely the best is like a hard shell, like
so the
straight
day
up.
they come up with actually the two word sun protection and actually something
hard
like
shell.
yeah, hard shell, I'll be the first one buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's key.
That's the key.
Just make
I
your
mean,
face white. That's enough.
Yeah.
yeah.
So how is it with you boys that you all do the same sport, right? You're prone foiling, you're wing foiling.
I'm financing.
You're not surfing. You're
I
No,
was surfing for many
you're
but
years.
you're foil surfing mainly
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now me and my brother, we still surf, but Papa left the surfing behind. Now it's just pure foiling. Pure foiling.
Well, yeah,
But
I just don't want. At one point, you cannot be as good as they are, so they go in a way that are too
When does
critical for me
when does that happen?
all the time.
Is it already happened?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Like
Better,
with him,
better
like,
winger?
like winging, proning. Yeah, he beats me at everything now. So I got the little one still. I can
Push him
I
around.
can show off a little bit.
You say it because he's
Feel
not
like
here.
I'm
you
still
know?
important somewhere somehow.
That's funny. So
So
yeah, so your main sponsor is sitting here.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
no, but the idea of sharing with them. I mean, now you got growing kids too,
Yeah.
and
Let's hope so. Let's hope I
seeing-
can. I have to
yeah,
share equipment with them.
Or-
Kailea's still. She's so scared of
But
everything.
he was because now every time I have to tell him like I put you in a long paddleboard like few meters from the beach with the break like so far away, and he was so scared. And now he's ripping waves that I'm like I don't want to go. So I think they cannot be pushed too far.
No, of course not.
When they're
Yeah, yeah.
young, but at the same time you have to still to introduce the water to them as early as we can.
Yeah.
And then hope that they don't go for bad experience with
Yeah.
big wipeouts that for them because they're so small and get scared.
But they only can fall so far, you know, when they're so
Yeah,
small.
but
right?
a few things that can happen.
No, for sure. The
and-
waves are sketchy.
Yeah.
You know, kiting
So-
as well,
Yep.
right? Like
Yeah.
long lines, kite. Like you can get lofted. Being in the waves, you're very vulnerable out there, right? In the
Yeah.
white water and currents, and you know,
Yeah.
and then winging. I feel like if you're in the right scenario, it's probably one of the safer
It is one of
sports
the
to
sa-
do.
And
So
it's
once again,
probably-
if we come back to if you wear the right gear, I told them you're not going proning without a helmet and an impact vest. No way. So sometimes if they forget the impact vest and we already at the spot, we all crying because we have to come back.
No way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because-
Disciplined, huh?
Yeah, that's it. That's the
Yeah.
only way because I don't want to be nervous in the water, like looking at them getting
You don't
a
wear
wipe
impact
out.
vest when you're surfing, no?
No, but I told myself if I want to surf like very shallow and critical waves, I'm gonna start using them. Like especially when it gets big, helmet, impact vest, and then from there on.
Yeah, I think
You
all
survive,
even the
but-
pro they realize that it doesn't look cool for sure. I mean, everybody's looking at you like, and if they don't know you, they're like, wow,
Look at us.
beginner in the lineup. That's the worst.
Do
you
we
can have.
even look cool
Yeah.
ever?
No, but at least when if you go to a lineup for the surfers, for us it's a little different if you come with a kite. I mean, who cares? Like the space is so huge, and
Yeah.
you're not next to each other. Surfing, like the waves, they have peaks where like everybody is getting next to each other.
Yeah.
So if you have a guy with a pink soft board from Costco,
Yeah.
Cornell Casco, and then the impact vest, all the others gonna say like it doesn't belong.
Yeah.
So even if he's got a regular board and he's
Easy to pinpoint.
so yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be like,
Yeah,
whoa.
that
And
guy.
it also always depends on which surf spots you're at. For example, at La Ocho, if you wear a helmet and look at you once, they won't think anything about it. But if you go like somewhere else, like perhaps like Piñones, then it can get a bit critical. But you just
Because
rather,
of who's surfing there, you mean?
yeah. I mean, it's just
It's
a
more
bit
of an
different.
advanced spot,
Yeah,
different vibe.
and it's a bit less friendly. But if you know everyone, you're welcome no matter what.
Just
But
because if you have like Laucho, you can take like so many different picks.
yeah,
It's
and I mean
breaking
it's
all
more
over the place.
welcoming too.
But if you go Aviones, it's just one
One,
pick.
yeah.
Yeah,
Everywhere is there.
Yeah.
But that's the same. Like I was telling them, it's probably as hard to come to a surfing spot with a helmet and the impact vest if he gets like Chatara when is really breaking into the reef.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be tubing. It's great, but if you miss, I mean, you're not gonna end up in the reef. And but they have to be smart enough to be like, hey, it's like if they go to a bar with some friends, they want to drink or get high that night. He has to say like, no, that's not my thing. Like if he goes to a surf spot and he wants to wear a helmet, he has to be strong enough to say like, no, I'm gonna wear that helmet even if that doesn't look cool. I don't care because I want to be safe. I want to have fun and come back home. Okay, like going to a bar, like, hey, to be able to say at one point like, that's enough. Now it's time to go home. To have that proof of character. So I'm
Well,
hoping that they're gonna go in that
It's
direction.
harder when you're younger, you know?
I know.
You don't have
definitely.
that life experience like we have, you know?
But I think the
that you realize that it doesn't really matter what people think
but
of you.
I think the pro surfers are the same right now at that where they have that conversation about the helmet.
Yeah.
Before there was like, oh no, there's no way I'm gonna say I am whoever and then I'm gonna come with a helmet. That's not
Yeah.
gonna look cool for my sponsors, for what the video is gonna be looking or
Yeah.
whatever. But now more and more people are, I think, getting more mature about it.
Do you guys watch kiteboarding or no? Because they just had the big air like kite event in
Yeah.
Gran Canary.
Oh, where they
Right,
were doing
they-
the crazy areas.
Yeah, they get like 24 meters was the highest jump, but all of those big air riders, I don't know, actually I don't know if all of them, I would say probably 90% of them are all wearing helmets.
Yeah. The impact, if you
I mean, they're doing some crazy things, and I think also mainly it's because they're taking their board off and spinning
Yeah.
it around, and like if you have your board off and then you throw it and then you fall into, I mean, they're
No,
wearing
the
impact
impact,
vests, they're wearing helmets now, and it's kind of becoming a standard. It's becoming regular, like what happened with snowboarding and skiing. Like when I was growing up,
Yeah.
snowboarding when I was 5, 6 until I was a teenager back in Colorado, we were not wearing helmets. I was not wearing a helmet going to the park. It was not a thing.
skateboards,
Yeah.
you name it.
But now
we didn't have protection.
I went back to snowboard after it was the first time since I started kiting when I was like 16. And I went back when I was 25 or something like that. And I went to the mountain in California. Everybody was wearing a helmet. Everybody. It was I felt weird not wearing a helmet. And then you're like, well, now I'm the weirdo, right? It's just
No,
so
but
strange.
I think when you get used of wearing the proper gear, that's gonna avoid like breaking your ribs.
Yeah.
Or worse, when it's the head.
Yeah.
How many of our friends I have picture on my phone where they have the impact on the skull. You actually interviewed one recently. It can be the foil, it can be the ball, it can be anything. I had a friend, he was jumping with the kite, felt, the board went one way, his leg stretched, he
Yeah.
broke his femur.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest bone in, so the impact can be pretty violent. So I think when you have the proper gear for protection, it pushes you to be more comfortable. At least I am. I'm thinking, well, if something happened, at least I've got a little more chance not to end up. And then here, you don't want to be going to the emergency anyway. So trying to avoid that.
Well, I'd avoid that anywhere.
Yeah, man.
That's
You
not
get
that's not
used
on the
to it.
back of my mind. Like,
Yeah, but
because I'm here, I might not be taken care of as well as over there. Let me not carve on the peak here. That never ran through my mind. But I guess yeah, it's definitely a factor, right?
so now,
But-
if I was not telling you to wear your helmet to go proning,
I feel like
would you?
now I've gotten used to it. So now actually not having it will feel weird. And
Yeah.
I feel like also just having the helmet, it gives you this insurance. So now I know like
Brain insurance.
yeah, brain insurance. And if I see like for example like a bigger wave and I want to do like a double dip and really carve with it, if I didn't have my impact vest and my helmet, I'll be second doubting myself and I'll probably wouldn't do the carve or do the turn I wanted to do. And just having the helmet and the impact vest, the protection I need,
Mhm.
I could go harder on the turns. I could really fall like I want to.
Yeah.
Really
I'm-
have fun.
I'm curious. After people take kiting lessons and they use a helmet, right?
Yeah, all of our students wear helmets.
So if they enjoy it and they decide to buy gear, is the helmet part of the gear they're going to be buying?
yeah. 20%.
20%.
Yeah.
So
I would
it's-
say kiters, when they buy their full kit,
Yeah.
60% of them buy an impact vest,
Ah, yeah.
20% buy a helmet. For winging, it's like 80% buy a helmet,
Mm.
and yeah, same around like the 80% buy an impact, 90%. It's kind of part of our package that we kind of put together with them. You know, everyone's different. I try to influence everyone as much as I can, right? To buy as much gear as possible because it's more profitable for me.
I'm sure.
No,
Pink helmet for Sundays.
yeah. Versus that, I try to
uniforms.
be with anybody that comes in. That's were my former students, whatever. I try to be as transparent as possible. That yeah, a lot of people buy an impact vest for kiting. I would say less.
But it's getting better too because I see for winging now he's telling me that he doesn't want to wing without the harness we bought from you
Well,
because they're super light. I mean, they don't bother you at all. It's not like something big
No,
or
no.
and because the wings are like 4 meters, 5 meters, small kites. Then I guess you don't get that pull that you would have with a bigger kite with a 12 meter, 40 meters. So it's actually doesn't. It's pretty good. I mean, the gear is really getting good. I'm very excited every time. Like they come up with something new, and I'm like, oh no, I really don't want to spend the money, but
Always gotta
that'd
experiment.
be nice to try.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you buy a lot of foils,
I do.
but you got a lot of foilers.
Yeah.
And, big family, yeah.
You got biggest sponsor here.
And then it's for prawn, you need for prawn, you need for winging.
Yeah, they're not all the same. You need longer mass, you need shorter mass,
Yeah.
you need
Oh yeah, some
smaller
yeah.
wings, more pumpy wings, more surfy wings.
Yeah.
You need long boards, you need short boards, you need fat boards.
Yeah.
Never ends.
Never ends. No.
Yeah, I mean, and also to keep up with all the trends, to be on the latest gear.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like from the very beginning, when this winging stuff kind of came out,
Yeah.
you were on it very early,
Yeah.
Ronan.
So
I can't remember who the first person I saw doing it was, but I have a particular video of me and you out at the reef.
So I was one of the first like practicing in Ocean Park, but the first guy I saw, because we were all with the ram air kite,
Yeah.
and we were trying.
Oh, you
to,
were part of that as well.
Yeah, we were trying to go as fast as possible, and Kiko and some others were really, really fast.
Mhm.
And then I think I was one day with my ram air kite, and I saw Kiko with that thing in his hand, and I always thought that would be so cool to have a kite, but you can hold it only with your hand, and because the deep power for me, since the fun was to ride waves.
I mean, you're French. You pretty much invented the sport. Let's be honest.
They did, not me. Whoever did. But the idea of the deep power for me was a big thing because if you go have fun on the waves, I had more fun playing on the waves than I had racing. Everybody's got different, but I always had to keep some power on the lines to be able to surf the waves.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And so every time I would go faster than the kite because suddenly I'm dropping a lot faster on the wave than I thought, and there was some slack.
Mhm.
I always had to think about what the kite was doing, making a loop and everything. So that was always, it was fun. But came the two things, the hydrofoil that first I used with the kite,
Mhm.
but then trying to go on the waves with a ramer kite, I did it once in Caballos, and I was like, never again. I was so scared that the thing was going to
Oh,
fall,
that's
and
sketchy.
then I would not be able to relaunch it. I was like, no way. I did it with a friend that moved back to the US. I was like, okay, so that's not happening. And then having you had some kites that were actually kind of like good for surfing, but
Yeah.
you still had to keep an eye on them all the time.
I mean, but especially with a foil. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going so fast. It's so efficient. You're outrunning your kite nonstop. If anybody is a foiler out there and they think they're riding the waves with a kite on a
Yeah.
foil, they are not. I mean, I don't see how it's possible.
Some brand were drafting better
Just
than
eject it
others,
all. Just boom, boom.
but
Yeah.
yeah, it was not working out. So when I saw Kiko, and I was like, oh, that's awesome because the idea of just releasing all the pressure
Yep.
and then just having that flag, and now you can completely focus on the wave. That's it. That's incredible. And then the size was smaller. Now you didn't have to have a bar. You didn't have to worry about the lines. And on top of everything, if everything was going to hell, the board had some flotation.
Yeah.
So you could like deflate, put it on your belly, or like just
Trail it
drag
behind
it
you,
behind you,
whatever,
put
yeah.
it on your foot, and then swing back to shore.
That's probably the biggest reason
So
I switched to winging because I've with a kite I always wanted to go like far, like try catching the waves with the outer reef, and I always had like in the back of my mind thinking, okay, if the wind dies and I'm far, I'm where the waves are. I mean, what can I do? My board cannot have any flotation, and then with the winging, really, it's so easy. You just like put the leash to your ankle and you start swimming back with the board that has enough flotation.
I think that
And
was the key for me to
yeah,
introduce.
it was just so much safer.
He
I
started with
felt.
kiting. I'm not saying that kiting is not fun, but it's different. And then for me,
Well, I mean,
I had more
for you
peace in
guys,
mind.
for you guys coming from like a surfing background,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes
Makes
a
sense.
ton of sense,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's why it's wildly popular, the winging and the foiling, because I think it kind of merges a lot more with the surf culture
Yeah.
as well, like downwinding, riding the waves, winging. You're just getting towed into waves to surf them freely, right?
Yeah.
And I think someone came in the other day, sorry to cut you off, that that was a surfer, and they're like, "Well, what should I do? Should I kite or should I wing?" And I'm like, "Well, you're a surfer. Like surfing a wave on a foil is the ultimate.
Yeah.
You know, it's the best thing ever. And then if you can tow yourself in and have a wind sport, then it fuels you towards so many other avenues of what you can do with a foil, right?"
And at the beginning, we didn't know much what kind of shape was good for what.
Yeah.
It was really try by error. I think even the manufacturer, they were like,
Shape of foil, wing.
oh, the foils.
Yeah, foil, yeah.
And the wings too, because I tried few wings, and I know you did too, that were way too heavy
Mhm.
and super not friendly, not fun to ride at all.
Yeah.
Now, like
Armstrong A wings. I have a 5.5 on sale, 90% off if anybody wants one.
the new ones are awesome.
I do have like a V1 5.5. I was looking at the website today showing him like when we're
Yeah.
doing sales. I'm like, you see that? $1,000 off.
It's a
Good
very
deal.
good deal. It's a good
The
deal.
new ones are awesome. So little by little, all the brand they come up with something
Yeah.
lighter.
Yeah.
The handles also. At first, like I used to ride another brand,
Mhm.
and now with the semi-rigid handle, I feel I got more contact with my wing.
Yeah.
So on the wave, actually.
So you like the new Armstrong wing? You're riding that now? I didn't see you
for
riding it the other
years,
day.
I was F1. There was only French, nothing else than French gear. And yeah, actually, the first time I took it out, because I was so used of the feel
I
of
remember,
the
yeah.
F1, and I came back and saying I don't like it. And it's weird because it takes a little bit of time when you change gear to try it in different condition, different day, and see what it does.
Yeah.
And I think all of them are just so much better than before. They are lighter. They are friendlier. They really loft well on the waves.
Yeah.
Turn better.
There's a lot of things. They pump well.
They go
A-
upwind
and
better.
then we are talking about the bores. So now they coming with bores. They realize like wider might not be the best thing.
Yeah.
Actually, because you guys are like going downwind, which I think is the Everest of the foil. You have to be so good
Thank
in
you,
the
Ronan.
water.
Yes.
No, it's really a lot of people try and give up.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't have the balls to try that.
Not yet.
Not yet. But
Um,
I'm trying with the wing, so I see what foil I need, how far I can go, or how many time I will fall and I had to paddle if I didn't have that wing to save me.
Yeah.
And so at least I start like seeing the distance and see what I could do. It looks super fun though. It looks like
Yeah. When you
the
lose,
purest of all, except I like towing. Because when you let go from the jet ski, like now you don't have to worry about the wing, you don't have to worry about nothing,
Yeah.
just a wave, and that's pretty cool. So
so getting these guys into wing foiling, it just felt a lot safer. It's easier. It's it's fueled more towards surfing. And what did you guys start with first?
So-
Foil surfing or winging?
So I started. We went. Was it before? I think so. We went to Tuado one time, and we had like a little boat in the lake, and I just started. Yeah, it was the first thing I started with the foil, like with the towing behind the boat, and learn just the feeling of the foil.
Mhm.
How to get up on the foil, and then once I got that, then I went to Shacks, and with like a pretty decent sized board. I went there and yeah, started proning and then because of that, the first day was in Utuado behind the boat and everything, knowing the sensation of the foil, I learned the prone. I don't know, in like 2 days. It was like I caught it pretty quickly, and then once that
Because
happened,
of your surfing background
Yeah.
as
yeah,
well.
and the surfing background. Once you know
and
how
the
to
pumping
surf,
too, you got good.
Oh, yeah?
so
I mean, you got good pretty fast too. Because I remember you beginning, I was kind of making fun of you.
Well, I
I
mean,
like a lot.
what else can you do?
But then suddenly, like you were,
I was
you were
hidden.
pumping better than me, and
I was
like,
hidden at a
what
spot.
happened there?
The only times you ever saw me was at La Ocho, right?
No,
you
we
saw us
went,
in
we
the
went
U?
to Dorado together a couple of
Yeah,
times,
Okay.
and then you were on the inside getting washed, and then not
Yeah.
that, but because of the surfing background, you know
Yeah.
where to position yourself to the waves that
Yeah.
are coming.
Yep.
yeah,
That's
no,
when to paddle and everything. So
surfing helped so much. And then yeah, after Shacks, couple times at La Corona, La Ocho, learning how to prone and yeah, and then with the winging, it was no brainer. Like I know how to foil, surf, the wing has to be it. And I remember I learned how to do downwinds. That's how I learned with the winging, and then really once I had a bigger wing
Mhm.
and the board was bigger, just the step from going from the knees to going up
you are
on your
using a
foot.
4.8, so it was not a big board, but
Yeah,
the
so
bigger
but
wing.
I was using
was
the
the key.
Armstrong board when I started, which
That's
was
90
good.
liters, no?
Yeah, it
That
was
one.
like
Yeah, it was 5.5,
5.5,
maybe 90 liters.
90 liters. Actually, I think you have it back there. And then so it was nice because
75% off.
75% off.
Well, actually, this one is not bad.
Yeah.
Huh?
Whoever gets it, this one
Yeah,
is not bad.
I recommend it.
Yeah,
so
I recommend
because
it
I
too.
learned it.
It's
I learned
it's
with it.
it's actually a consignment. Someone's trying to sell their full kit. They don't want to foil anymore.
Oh, really?
But
Well,
yeah, it's
I
like a
recommend it
5.5
because
90 liter, right? That
Yeah.
board. That was the first board I got from you. Actually, that's the board I bought from you, sold to this guy, now he's selling it. That was the board.
It goes around and around.
Yeah.
The gear is so fun because
All
the chat
roads lead
we
back to
have
Dylan.
is like, oh yeah, somebody's looking for that. Oh yeah, because he saw you. Oh yeah, because I sold it to you. Oh yeah, because I got it from blah 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 blah. Right, never ends.
You guys know that's my chat, right?
yeah.
I mean, if anybody's in that chat, they 100% know who I am. It is hilarious. I mean, look, that's how I feed my
Yeah,
my
you're
family.
pretty fast putting the trigger on the chat. So
Yeah,
Uh,
I've gotten some really good deals from that.
things needs to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
So-
no, I recommend that board because I mean the hardest part of the winging is getting from your knees to then putting your feet, and then once that happens, waiting for the gust to happen, and then get up on the foil while pumping as hard as you can with the wing. And so yeah, no, having the board stabilized so like you're not falling or tripping over when you're on your knees. And then what really clicked as well was having a bigger wing, like the biggest you could have. And since
Hand
I'm
wing
not
or a foil?
No,
a wing, wing.
I made a mistake.
So
So I thought that using a smaller size
yeah,
will help them because it would
It's
be
more maneuverable.
maneuverable,
Yeah.
more easy to pump, and actually what
No.
you need is power to
Yeah.
get up.
Yeah.
so that was a
It's
mistake.
it's better to have to pump your board
Mhm.
to create momentum versus pumping the wing. It's
Yeah.
very complicated. Like
And
it's
then when you're
I
pumping,
still see people that know how to foil and know how to wing, and I see them pumping the wing,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not really
Yeah.
that efficient, you know.
yeah.
Takes time to get the proper like efficiency of pumping it, and then
Yeah.
the cadence of the foil and the board.
And
Especially
synchronize it with
especially with the new balls now that you can use for proning and winging.
Yeah, those new mid lengths. Yeah,
The mid range are awesome.
I felt like it was a little bit. I tried.
I mean, because
it's
it's
so
from
narrow.
the downwind technology, so the idea is to
Technology.
be able to
Yeah,
take off from the
no,
water
I
as
totally
fast
get
as
it,
possible.
and I like it. I
Yeah.
mean,
And then the idea of like if you're traveling to be able to, if you like proning and winging, depending on the conditions, sometimes it's windy, there's no wave, or sometimes there are waves and you don't want to use a wing.
Yeah.
And to be able to put everything in one bag, that's what I think I'm gonna do on my next trip to Peru. So take that board to do everything.
yeah. I mean, I tell everyone that comes into the shop, no one board can do it all.
This one can.
Yeah. There's always some kind of a compromise somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, either it's in the surf or it's how it rides or how much volume you have for winging or
depends of your weight.
yeah. Oh no, for sure.
So
Like your skill level,
it's easier if I'm 160. So now I know I can duck dive that 45 liter,
Mhm.
and I can use that 45 liter with a wing.
Yeah.
So
What's the because it's 45 liters. It's what is it? 19 inches, 18 and a half?
I don't even
you know the
recall.
specs?
I think it's 17.
17.
17, yeah.
Oh, it's because I felt it. I was
And it's 5'1", 45 liters, 17. So it's pretty narrow, but it's amazing because so you have to water start. So, but as soon as you got the power from the wing, that things want to go.
Yeah.
So you don't have to, because when I see like a lot of people in the water, they're struggling. Like Nolan, like for him, like his nightmare is to be up on that board and just doing this, and it's not happening. So he's getting frustrated.
yeah.
I mean, he got to the level where now, like he can stand up on the board and he's in the position ready. But it's just that moment of like trying to synchronize the pumping with the wing and the board, and then for that foil just to get up. But I mean, also it helps when there's wind. Last time there wasn't much wind, so and the consistency is what matters. Because I mean, Nolan, he goes and tries winging like once or twice every month, and so that doesn't work clearly.
Yeah, he wants to surf.
Yeah, and he
He would rather
constantly
be
wants
in
to
a- He would
surf.
rather be in aviones surfing.
Yeah.
But there's no waves.
There's no way, and it's ridiculous.
Aviones for them,
Yeah.
they're so light, and then there's always a
Oh, really?
something, yeah.
There's always a wave in
Like
Piñones,
there's a
but-
little something in La Corona. If
Yeah.
You know how to prone with a short mast.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you want to learn how to wing or kite, whichever, you gotta dedicate
At
like
first.
at first.
You gotta get like over the
when you're
hump.
First learning, you gotta dedicate like I don't know a week or two, like and just.
And
I mean,
after it's
depends
fun.
also how fast you learn,
So-
of course, but you gotta stay consistent with it. You cannot not do like one lesson like every month or something. You
I know.
stay consistent with
So
it.
when people come to see you and they say how many lessons I need to learn,
For winging,
Yeah, what do you
I
say?
say YouTube it. Worst businessman ever.
Open your
YouTube.
checkbook, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Um,
Credit card.
yeah. For winging,
Open tab
yeah. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. Really depends on
at the background.
Yeah.
their background. How much time do they want to spend doing it? How much money do they want to spend? Because I mean, I could take them behind the jet ski. I could take them e-foiling. I could do lessons with the wing, with the boat.
Yeah.
All of it has a different cost association, right?
Yeah.
Which is really important. So, how much money do they want to spend and dedicate to this to learn? And what's the fast track,
Yeah.
right? So, if they didn't have a budget, then yeah, I mean, I could get them winging in a week.
Yeah.
You know, I could take them on the wing board. I just got like 2 wing boards that came in with like soft rails and a soft top, 165-liter wing board. You know,
Wow.
610. You know, that thing's a beast. So I'm
That's
not
gotta be
sure.
stable.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's like the best for a big guy. Yes, but I don't think more board necessarily means easier to foil.
But
No?
maybe at first, just to
Maybe
like
on the
my
first
wife,
day.
she gave up,
Oh yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah.
because maybe I was not.
Well,
the,
you were
I was-
teaching
I
her.
was not the right teacher.
That's what I'm talking about
So
from the
it was
beginning.
more about the divorce and if we were using my brother as a lawyer or
You're like,
or
who gets the
somebody else.
kids?
So they all said, "Hey,
It was the same thing with mom. It is just inconsistent with like learning how to.
But I think
That's
for
only-
her, I didn't put her on a board big enough, like, because I
Yeah,
think if she would
board
have
was
been
not
able
big
to
enough.
just navigate with the wing without
Yeah.
even being on the foil,
Yeah.
but at least to have some kind of fun
Yeah.
instead of foiling every 5 minutes,
So
that would be better.
it's hard with winging because you feel very little satisfaction for a long time, right? The progression. This is how I explain it to people that come into the shop, right? They want to kite, they want to do something,
Mm.
right? If you want to do something, go e-foiling, you know? If you want to learn a sport, there's either or. Kiting has this like incremental satisfaction day
Mhm.
by day. And you're always flying the kite. Flying a
Yeah.
kite is fun,
Yeah.
right? So you feel more engaged, like you're doing something. Even if you're floating or your body dragging for your
Yeah.
board,
I mean,
you're
body dragging was fun.
you're relaunching the kite. Not
Yeah.
everybody would say that. Um, but when you're flying the kite, you feel like you are kiting in my sensation and how people perceive it. Winging,
Well, and plus the winging, it's not just being on a board; it's being on a board that has a foil.
Yeah.
So it's not you have to deal with a wing or you have to deal with a kite, but on top of it, you have to deal with flying a foil.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really 2 things that are little require like to maybe learn one before the other
Yeah.
instead of doing the both at the same time. Unless you have a stable board and then you want to
Yeah, no,
able
for
to have
sure.
the
Like
fun.
when we teach the winging, it's just we have like a 230-liter
Yeah.
inflatable board or paddle board with a keel, right? You
Yeah.
just do that and you learn how to wing. But yeah, when people do, 4 lessons in a row and all they're doing is what Nolan's doing, right? You're standing on the board, you're able
Yeah.
to stand, you're pumping the wing, you don't feel like you're doing anything, you're falling,
Especially
you're getting
when
up.
you finally do like, no, 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 no.
The slow fall over,
Yeah.
right? So
And then you hear the shouts. That's when like,
he's got a temper, huh?
Yeah.
That boy.
oh yeah, he had.
Yeah. I mean, I get. Yeah.
like everybody. I'm sure like.
That's-
Some days
I learned
being
that's-
exhausted doing the downwind where
Oh,
like
I've-
you falling
Yeah.
and then you not going
Oh, I
back up.
screamed
I've
the
seen
other
some
day.
good friends where like
Yeah.
they destroyed their board
Yeah.
coming back to shore. No names,
Yeah,
he
I've
knows.
I've seen it.
But
I've heard it. Yeah.
I
I screamed the other day, I was
Yeah.
just like at the end of my run, it was hot. I was bombing down this like nice set of waves on the outside on my downwind board and huge patch of seaweed. Just like I couldn't I was going so
No.
fast with these high aspect foils when you're going that fast, it's
Yeah.
really hard to like I can't turn on a dime. So I'm like going and it was like slow motion. I'm like, there it is. I'm like, let me turn. It's like there's no way. I'm like, either I turn and like eat shit hardcore and like my board, yard sail,
Uh-huh.
which happened. But that time I was like, I didn't have the time. I'm going into the seaweed. It was just like,
it was
slowed
just a
down.
patch or there
yeah, it
was
just
like
a
more.
patch. But there was a lot more, throughout. It's like
so That
this
then
it's,
becomes challenging then.
yeah, it's weird because there's like lines of it and they
Yeah.
follow like a line,
Yeah.
right? And a current. And you're like, oh, so you go through it one way and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you have to go through it again. And then you're like, there's another line. And you're like, ah.
You know, for the longest time, like from the air, I thought I was the shit of the cruise ship. I'm not even kidding. I was like, those bastards.
It's like brrr.
They're just stomping it. Boo, boo.
It's so funny. bro.
And then
No.
Yeah,
then
so-
they were sarcasm.
It
Yeah.
was funny because when I was learning, I mean, I learned really quickly thanks to the surfing. My background with this.
Yeah, we get it. You're awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. But I remember, I would scream, and my dad would come right next to me. He would like because he would be always doing circles around me while I was trying to learn, telling me, "Oh, you gotta do this or you gotta do that." And every time, like after like I don't know, like 10 tries, I would fall and I would scream some words, and my dad would say, when we get home, I'm gonna punish you for saying that."
You don't know how lucky you are. How old are you? You don't
You
even pay
entitled
for that
bitch.
stuff. You know how much that costs?
Yeah,
It's true.
You got to learn somehow.
Yeah.
yeah,
You have to
Yeah.
keep your cool.
yeah. Well, it's Zen, always. And I mean also, man, once after falling like 10 times and you start cursing and you get angry, that's when it's over because then like you're not even thinking correctly and you're not even trying to do the right things. After that, it's game over.
Yeah, you get it. Cause
You gotta really like once that happens, you gotta like meditate for like 2 minutes and then get back on your board and try again. But if you like after like cursing, you try again, it won't work.
The funny part is like it's cool to do it with your family,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but at one point when they get really tired, you have to tell them like, just stop, because if they don't, then it becomes like very interesting.
Yeah.
We were in a surf spot. I was surfing that day, and he wanted to go back to where he needed to go back against the current.
Oh.
And I told him we were at Wildo,
Wilderness,
there was
first
some
time at
size.
wilderness.
and I told him like you cannot try to go back. You have to go with the current. And we go to the wall. We're gonna get together. And he was like, "Dad, shut up! Leave me alone!" And I was like, I said, "Come with me." He's like, "No." So you realize at one point that that
Yeah.
could not happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's rewarding too when they end up actually becoming good and better than you. It's pretty cool. It's really cool. So
yeah,
I
I,
assume.
I get.
I assume so.
Yeah, I
so-
can make fun of him now. It's funny.
Give him tips. Come on.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
no, it's fun.
That's cool. When we first started the whole winging trend, you were very already onto the Armstrong stuff.
Yep.
And I was I was on my North stuff. The foiling wasn't really picking up at that point.
Yep.
I was on my aluminum stuff. They hadn't launched their carbon, and you were hounding me like, hey, you should try this. You should get on the Armstrong. And I eventually got on the Armstrong and started doing all of that because of you.
But it's so they face when they try to manufacture those foils, they have to think, okay, do we want the best and with the best material? Galvanic corrosion for me has always been annoying. Like I think my first brand was Slingshot, and I left the screws in for
wow.
quite some time. I didn't know better. And then one day I realized, okay, I could use a smaller front wing, and I thought that would be easy just to pop it out and put it on. It didn't happen. I realized the back to school and
It's a monoblock.
yeah, and then that was gone. So galvanic corrosion, the use of titanium. There was Alpine foil using it. There was Armstrong, and also there was some brand where like they do awesome job, but then they completely replace their system when they redesign a better system.
Yeah.
But then you end up with your old thing that is not compatible with the new one.
Yep.
So there's
I know of that.
few factors that can be really annoying, and but now like little by little, either way for the wings or it's so much better than it used to be. The glide is like insane now. It's so much fun. The pumping is so much easier to pump the wings now than it used to be. And before you could pump them, but they were hard to turn. So now they also like with finesse, little adjustment here and there, trying new things. You can actually pump those and turn. So have fun on the double dipping and
Yeah.
catch some other waves, and but still be comfortable on the turn.
Yeah.
And then using also the same equipment when you that you're comfortable with the wing, so you can go to the outer reef.
Yeah.
Um,
And use the same foils and the same stuff. Armstrong has been on the same system since they started, no?
so that's a good thing. Is like if you still have the Gen 1, you buy a new wing, you just put it on,
Yeah.
front wing,
Yeah, yeah.
because they changed the fuselage
yeah,
and
the-
the
the
back
A-
tail.
the
But
A
even
plus
if you
is
put
different.
a new back tail into the old system, it's still gonna work.
Yeah.
So yeah, a few things that I really like with them. Also the fact that when you prone, you hit the bottom. So you try not to, because I mean one of my best friends is a marine biologist. So yeah, the reef is important.
Yes, for sure.
And it damage your gear. It's expensive, so
Yeah.
nobody wants that. But if it happens that you want it to be solid enough that and yeah, they last a long, long time. Lift, I mean, so many brands did some awesome job. I love the Lift 90 also.
Yeah.
Super fun. There's a lot of, I tried many of different brands. There's always
Yeah,
a
the Lift
1.1 I really like more than
Yeah.
the others.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they all have their different attributes, right?
Yeah.
They're designed for different things, and
and like you said, like you cannot. So if you have the cord and a long span, you're gonna have a high aspect. So that's good for one thing, the glide.
yeah.
It might not be the best for turning, like when you got seaweed in front of you.
Yeah.
But it depends now if you want to downwind, if you want one that can do almost everything. But like you said, there's always a trade-off.
Yeah, yeah. There's always there's no
So there's
there's
no
no
magic
one-
formula. I mean, they still like improve it every time. Where I'm really surprised.
they're pretty
uh,
close to there's I've tried a bunch of different foils, and there's some more foils that are coming out that are going to be really impressive.
Mm.
Like I'm waiting for these new KT foils to come in.
Oh, they do.
I made KT is making
Yeah.
some foils, and I've got some of our boys from Puerto Rico or in Hawaii trying them, and I got reports back that
Oh, Hector is trying that.
Hector didn't try them, Roy tried them, Mickey
right.
tried them,
Cool.
and I've had some reports that they're really good. I've talked to some of the people that work there, and I blindly ordered whatever I could. There was no specs. There was just some sizes and a little bit of a bio of like what the foils look like, no pricing. And I put in a big order. I'm like, okay, I think KT is going to be good because KD Maui's designing them. You know, the guy that does those like those tails. I think you have some
because
tails from him.
The thing also, so it might be a little technical, but I kind of like the system where if you, at first, like Lyft managed to do a setup that is easy to use because you don't have to put shim, you don't have to,
Yeah.
like, you just go in the water, you don't
Straight up.
worry about anything. And for some, like the 90, I love it. For me, it works perfect. But for other system, I like to understand what they're trying to achieve and why they do it. So then the mass position become important, and also how you chim
Mhm.
and why you doing it.
Yeah.
And so it's got a technical aspect, but actually for me it's very interesting because now you know what you're doing with the gear. And
Well, you're a
and
pilot, right?
To see what's
We-
what's the difference.
Yeah.
So, and why you would do that?
Yeah.
The difference of angle. I don't want to go through
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
it's
Which we never mentioned that you're a pilot, you know, which makes a lot of sense. And
yeah.
you know, you understand the drag and attack and lift, and you know, there's the wings are wings, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, not that's the thing. That's why the foil for me is very interesting because I was lucky enough to do some competition flying gliders in Europe, and it was the same thing. It was incredible the difference of glide between gliders, between brands, between how effective they were, how clean you had to. So we call it peau de chamois, which is a skin from an animal that every time you remove all the mosquitoes, all the flies, everything. I mean, it has to be perfect. And the glide is like, it can go like if you go 1,000 feet. Now the high performance, you can go 60,000 feet on a straight line. So the finesse is like when you start, it's the same with the foils. When you start, at first you want something stable. not what you would be using for a downwind if you have a new customer.
Yeah.
And then with the glider, it was the same at first. Like you get something like super stable, so you can roll it, you can do aerobatic with it.
Yeah, but you're not going very far, you know.
It's like a rock. It's just go like, it go down.
Yeah.
The other one, like they have a different thing. And then also at one point they told me like, oh well, if you want to get better, you need to start putting water in your wings. I was like, I can put water in my wings. What does it do? And so there's a lot of thing with the foil.
Put water on your wings or in them?
Inside the wings.
Oh shit.
So
and they would move around from one tip to the other?
You fill them up completely.
Oh, I see.
And then what it does is like you can go faster, and instead of if you're here and then you're gonna end up here with that distance, you can go a lot faster. So especially when you go in competition, and then you're still not gonna be here, but you're gonna be there.
Further,
so you go faster than the others, and then you're gonna not lose as much altitude. And then when you come back, it's pretty cool because you do a low pass. And then you pull, and then you release the water, so everybody gets spread.
That's funny. Is that true?
So yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, at the end, you don't want to land with the water, so you have to ballast them. You have to get rid of it.
And talking about the shims and the angles and the wings and everything, it was funny because what Roy was telling me in Hawaii, he was testing a couple foils from KT, and he has a spreadsheet of like every foil with every tail and how and what shim you should put in. He has an exact perfect shim so that this tail with that foil and this tail with that foil and this tail with that foil is where he feels like it meets perfection.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not. I don't want to contradict, but let's say like you want to pump more. Like Armstrong he's got one positive degree for the front wing and one negative, so it's a difference of 2 degrees.
Yeah.
But now, like if you want actually a lot of pumping, if you don't want to chim a lot, you want stable and you're gonna have more pump. It's the same with an airplane. When you go at low speed, then you want to have flaps. Now, as soon as you go faster, you don't want the flaps. So now, if you want something that is more agile, more loose, but then for a beginner, that's not what would be working. So it depends on the skill of the person. It's not like that foil with the front wing that you should use that shim. It depends of the skill level of the person. Depends of
what they want.
Probably that chart is for like already good pro.
I have no idea. I'd have to look at it.
But it's pretty cool because
he's very scientific in that way. So I'd assume I was like, oh, that's wild that he has all this mathematics worked out, you know.
But it makes a difference.
Sure. For sure.
And it kind of changes your gear, the feel of it. And sometimes even like when we go towing and then we think, oh shit, maybe I should have put less chim.
Yeah.
Because now it's very unstable.
Yeah.
So
I really try to shim nothing. I just like to.
Well, actually,
I've played around a little bit, but
I talk about Armstrong because the one that I use the most, and they say don't chim.
Yeah.
Until you start knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you
what
understand
you get
and you understand why you're doing it.
Yep.
And then so by decreasing the angle between the two, then it's just more fluid through the water, so you're gonna have better performance of the foil, but then it's gonna be a lot more unstable. So it's gonna turn. I mean, it depends what you're looking for.
I'm curious to know if, like, I haven't talked to any designers or anything. I haven't really talked to Uli or because he's on North because I have a direct contact with him. But all these people on Armstrong, all these new foils that are coming out, I wonder if they derived from the performance that people are trying to get out of downwinding, because you need something so specific, and they're asking so much out of a foil, right? That they're kind of pushing these foils to the extremes of like how long and narrow they can go, how stiff they need to be, and how much low end and high end they have. Like there's so much that you want out of that foil, out of performance. If not being specific at like, oh, it's got to be the fastest for a racer, but in downwinding in general, you want something that gets up slow. You want something that glides long. You want something that can go fast, you know?
Everything.
So I feel like Same with the boards.
But
Like,
exactly, I think with the mid range
Yeah.
is what happening. So they try to push as far as they can for the downwind to see what you want an albatross.
Yeah.
You want a bird that can fly without doing this.
Yeah.
Glide as long as possible. But then they also have to think like, wow, but you need quite a good skill level to do that. So not everybody's going to be into it.
Yeah.
And then for the one that wants to wing on the waves or prone, they need something that turns. But we can use what we learned
Yeah.
from the downwind and then try to. And
Yeah.
I think the more they're pushing the envelope, they kind of like know what works and what doesn't work,
Yeah.
which makes it very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens with the boards, right?
Yeah. Also,
with
no,
those
before it
mid-lengths.
was like small and super wide.
Yeah.
And now he's going towards
Opposite
like
again.
long and super narrow.
Yeah.
So you're like, whoa, what happened there? But and
Nobody
I know-
knows because nobody knows. You know, I don't know. It's just how it is. So,
yeah.
but it's cool. It's a cool time to, like,
I know
that-
for anybody that is not doing it, they should do it.
yes.
They really, I mean, you have to be lucky enough. Like we are super lucky to be in Puerto Rico because the conditions, you can surf, you can wing, you can. There's always something to do.
Yeah, every day.
So out of Florida, you can, depending on where you live, it can be a little different. It can be more maybe challenging.
Mhm.
But I think the foil revolutionized everything in a sense that before, like surfing, the waves were not the way I wanted, like clean, perfect size. I was gonna be, like now the wind is coming. Oh no, my session is over. With the foil, you don't have to worry so much about that. You can always go because even in small condition, crappy waves, you can have a blast.
Yep.
And I think now using the wind, same either way with the kite or with the wing, then now they're doing like those 7 meters and 8 meters light wind
9
kite.
meters even.
They use like
Crazy.
different material that is more expensive. So when you see the price of the wings now, you're like, ooh, that's not cheap. But looks pretty cool because at that size you want something light.
Yeah.
So they're trying also to see like what should it be, like the leading edge, or it should be the
I mean,
one that we are holding.
Yeah.
Is like so they tried by air.
I think it's so young, right? But I think it's kind of cool that there's still enough money in it that these companies are making enough money that they're able to develop and develop and,
I think-
develop,
and
right?
I think
And
more and more.
yeah.
Because when I was riding alpine foil, so I was talking a lot with this French, and
French?
that started his factory from scratch, putting pretty interesting the decision people make. Like you had Hector in a podcast where suddenly it's like, all right, I need to do something, and that's what I want to do. Like they're telling me there is 99% of chance I'm gonna fail,
Yeah.
but I'm still gonna try.
Yeah.
And then he did that for the foils too, and that was pretty interesting to see how his factory grew with time. And at first he was into windsurfing, but out in the mountain, in the French Alps, and the wind over there is kind of like weird. And when he started to use that foil, like his friends were like, "You're the only one in the water."
Yeah.
So I think there's a big future for foiling because before there was a lot of conditions where you couldn't go. Even like I go with my wing
Well,
when all the
locations, conditions.
all the kiters are on the beach.
Yeah.
Just because I'm using a foil.
Yep.
I mean, there's some kiters that are using foils too, but you need to be using a foil if you want to go under 10 knots of winds
Yeah, and still have fun.
and still have fun. Yeah. So you can be behind a boat now and then it's super exciting. So about how they want to integrate a little jet engine inside the board
Yeah, yeah.
to
I've
be
seen
able
it.
not to use a jet ski or to be pulled by those little things that are in front of you.
The tow
and-
buggies.
Yeah, tow buggies, which is pretty. I mean, it's pretty cool. Until I haven't seen a video where it crashed on the wave. It seems like they always leave it on the behind the waves.
It's a lot of maneuvering.
But
Well,
but-
you asked me that same question, right? You're like, "Oh, what should I do? Like get a foil drive or get a tow buggy?"
Yeah.
right? And they're different applications. I had a guy also from the West Coast call me. He's like, "Hey, I'm looking at this tow buggy.
Yeah.
I'm really like wanting to get into foiling a lot more, and I want more access to the water and the waves, and I don't want to always, have like somebody have to drive my jet ski
Yeah,
and
you
blah
need
blah
you
blah,
need a marina.
right?
You need somebody to.
Yeah,
go with
and
you.
they're totally different applications. And I got in that conversation with you before. I got in that conversation with him, and I don't know. I think if you're not really good on the foil to have a tow buggy and you have to maneuver it around and
Around
Yeah.
people.
drive yourself and drive the buggy, and
Yeah.
you're like, I'm on the wave, but I gotta drive my tow buggy off the wave, and like, and there's people around, like, oh, I don't know, it's got to be pretty hectic. I think that's worse than a foil drive for
Yeah.
sure. In terms of like disturbing the peace
Yeah.
and being in the way. Like, I mean, I want one selfishly, but I mean, I'm not gonna take it to La Ocho.
Yeah, no, definitely. Plus, there's no reason to do that,
No, I know.
especially when I'm wearing the t-shirt.
Oh, La Ocho surf.
Yeah, you wear.
Yeah, we're not doing it. We're not
So,
going.
No, we're not going. Already, people go winging over there, and surfers don't like it.
I know. I've heard.
So
I had a
some
I had a
days I guess
conversation-
it's so windy that it doesn't make sense to surf.
Yeah.
But we have so many other spots that I don't want to be pissing off people around.
Nobody wants to piss off people.
And you got the outer reef for yourself, so I mean, you're fine going to the outer reef. And
But yeah, those buggy, I mean, whatever is coming next is pretty exciting.
Yeah, I just got the
It's
email from
really
that
exciting.
flight lab or whatever it's
Yeah.
called. The little fart
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we're on our last productions. We're almost there. We know you're asking what the price is gonna be.
Uh-huh.
We know you're asking, the weight or whatever, all these questions, and they're like, we'll have the answers soon. I'm like, oh, come on, another teasing email.
Make it happen.
Give me your fart board. I want to try it.
Send it to me so I
Yeah.
can tell you if it works or not.
Yeah, I'm a great tester.
Yeah.
If anybody's listening to this, I'm a great resource for testing foil gear. I will give you horrible feedback, but I will definitely be able to ride it.
But I think some people also have an audience when they do YouTube videos because they're honest about the gear they're trying.
Mhm.
So there's a couple of guys that I follow just because they're gonna probably pissed off some brands.
Somebody.
Yeah. But
Nobody's perfect.
but they're honest about it. So I think it's because so many new things coming up.
Yeah.
So you don't want to buy something that is quite expensive without somebody trying it first.
Yeah,
So you will be the guy.
I'd definitely be a good guy. Don't even have to pay me. Just leave me with your fart board.
Eat the
Give it-
gear
Give it to me.
for 3 months,
Yeah.
and I'll let you know.
Well, there's a lot of good people that could test it out here. Puerto Rico's a perfect place
Oh,
for
yeah.
testing out gear.
No.
Send it to me.
For sure.
so many
yeah.
people.
I don't know if that's true. But man, I think I've started to do it already, that I've had guests on the show.
Yeah.
And then eventually I'm going to have them back, because first time doing a podcast, it's like,
Yeah.
it's not
Nolan,
like,
Nolan didn't want to come.
no,
I said, you coming? And he said, what kind of question he's going to ask me? I was like, I don't know.
very personal questions. He was so stoked that we couldn't find a seat for
He was
him.
like,
He's like,
Oh, well,
Thank
I guess
you.
I'm good.
bye bye. See you
Ciao,
later.
bello.
I didn't know if he was disappointed or not, but
No, he was
but,
he was
but I'm like,
he was-
Ronan, come,
Since
and
the
then you're
beginning,
like,
he's like, you sure you want to be? What I'm going to say? I'm like, don't worry about it.
don't worry about it. I'm a great host.
Yeah.
I know what I'm
doesn't
doing.
bite.
No, I'm kidding. I have no idea what I'm
He's
doing.
going to pay your brother like so well that you need to know this guy better.
He's gonna have all of his money in his drawer, in his sock
The
drawer.
gear's going to be almost free, and then it's going to
Isn't it already, Ronan? Be honest. Isn't it already almost free?
It's awesome. I love this store. I love having
You're a
you
good
here in Puerto
customer.
Rico. Yeah.
Kind of ish. Yeah. No, you're a good customer. You are. I know you've got your other deals on the side, but you've
Yeah.
definitely helped support the
I
shop.
like to test things.
Yeah.
I'm always excited about something new. So
So give us the
I've-
fart board. No.
can I have one too?
Yeah. No, so it's good to because there's so many, like, you know, you tow foil so much, you wing, you guys go surfing all these different places, you've been foiling forever, you like started it, you've gone through all these different brands. So there's always so much, there's so much more to talk about. There's like, I could talk about a one single session we've had, and it could take us half an hour to
Oh,
like debrief, you know, and like all of this stuff is, I found that all of these people find anything interesting as long as we're talking about foiling.
No, for sure.
No,
Like
so it's good to have you guys in here, and the second time around it's always a little bit more relaxing, and you know what the setting feels like, you know, because I've always beforehand I'm thinking, oh no, I'm like, Ronan's coming, but then you show up with your whole family and your dogs, and I'm
yeah,
like,
I
no,
didn't see a sign like no kids, no dogs allowed.
and it's always like half an hour before, I'm like, I'm setting up, I'm like, oh damn, I'm like, I didn't prepare anything, and I have no idea what I'm going to talk about with this guy that's coming in.
But that's pretty easy with foiling. One of my kids said, "I hope mom not gonna look or watch those podcasts." And then so one of the two said, "Why?" And then the one of the two said, "Well,
I like how you're not pointing anybody out here.
to realize how deep you're addicted to 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 those sports."
Yeah, let's hope
And
Dylan doesn't bring up the
so-
invoices that Ronan's.
So it's pretty good drug. Fix
Yeah.
us definitely.
Yeah.
A lot of vitamin C.
Yeah, it's good
works
to
for-
keep the kids
work-
off the street, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a good drug.
That's the idea.
Foiling is a good drug.
Wake up 5 in the morning.
Yeah. So now I was telling him, now that he's, you know, helping out in the shop,
Yeah.
I'm like, I should have like kids lined up out the door taking wing lessons or something
Yeah.
here. What's going on with all your what's
Man,
going on with
yeah.
your generation? Where are they? They're at
Man, I don't know. My squad is pretty slow with surfing, but I mean,
Yeah.
they're getting the hang of. They're
would-
starting to
You,
introduce
you would
themselves.
think that they would be more like surfers, kiters
This
at the
new
schools.
generation.
Uh,
it's I always found it interesting, like now living here for, I don't know, six years plus. You've been here for a long time,
Yeah.
right?
un cuarto de siglo.
Huh?
Un cuarto de siglo.
Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah, that's quite a while.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised at how much conditions we have, like wind and waves and coastline and accessibility, and how little water sports people are doing here
I
on an
mean,
island,
yeah.
right? I find it's probably, you know, the facilities that don't last as long, you know, like, am I going to go out of business in a year and then that's it? That's the kite shop and the foil shop's over? Or, I mean, where the influence, like you go to Hawaii, it's like they're
Yeah.
born to be in the water.
Yeah, but
Oh,
they
no,
all,
no.
I mean, they're all surfers.
Yeah.
Almost. So it's so part of the culture that then, oh, wow, the surf sucks today, but guess what? We have a foil. We're going to have a great session. Oh, wow, there's no wave. Oh, it's windy. Let's go
Yeah,
winging.
like where are all these
Yeah.
surfers in the summer? Like they have to
No,
start
I mean,
doing
hey,
wing
when-
sports.
When there's no during the summer, there's no waves, so
We had a
you
little
get
bit
again.
like last week, you know, like a little pulse. No,
yeah,
there was something.
yeah. I went surfing a bit, and it was fun, but definitely like I was like, man, just like a feet smaller, and I would have been winging.
What
Like,
about your
forget
surfer
about this.
friends? Do they even like? Do they make fun of you for the foiling, or
No,
they don't
I mean,
like
my-
it? They
there
hate
was
on
no-
you?
No, I mean, this one friend coming like not so long ago. He said, "Man, I'm bored out of my mind. Like, I don't know what to do. Surfing is all I know what to do, and there's no waves." So yeah, I'm telling him, "Hey, get into kiting, get into swinging."
And
'Cause, yeah, I'm pushing
that's
him.
how that conversation ended.
Yeah, I'm
Not a very
pushing him.
good salesman, huh? I don't know if you can work in
Not
this shop.
now. He
No,
gotta
but-
he gotta work a bit, get his money, and then yeah, no,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll
I
push
think
him too.
that's what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
So
it's not cheap.
if the parents are into it,
Yeah,
and they are
that's
not into, because there's also like when you have kids and your time frame for, I mean, the time you have, and if they're part of a soccer team, like the more the basketball, soccer,
Yeah.
all this or that, takes already like all the weekends or then the competition and everything. So the idea of if the parents are not already people that are using some kind of sport in the water, they might probably go towards that direction,
Yeah.
soccer and basketball, and they have no idea that they live in an island, and it's kind of sad that they're not taking the opportunity of having that experience. But probably because of YouTube, the videos and everything.
I feel like at least for the surfing industry, I feel like there's been a huge boom.
Yeah, when
I
this
mean, now a lot of people just want to try. Every time, like
Surfing.
yeah, surfing at least, but even like winging now, like for example, this one time, like I was like, the wind was bad, so I had to do one thing, like walk of shame. But like, people to come up to me and say, "Hey, like I want to learn how to wing. Like, where can I do it now?" Numero uno, that's where you do get your wing lessons. But yeah, I mean, like people come up to you now more often and they ask about it because they see,
and
wow, this guy's
summer
like flying
camp
over the water. Like I've never seen
and
that
all,
before.
and also the brands now they realize that yeah, if for somebody's a teenager like to spend the gear in new gear, so before there was not so much used gear, so now people can find used gear.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
even new gear.
is way
Yeah.
more
Like-
accessible, and even like Armstrong, like they realized like
Yeah,
the
now they
US
came out with their aluminum.
yeah, exactly. So they were like, okay, now that we know how to do it, and it's still gonna be something good, but how can we make it cheaper,
Yeah.
more accessible for people?
Yeah.
So
I was surprised that when they came out with it, they didn't make it compatible with their carbon stuff, like the same hexagonal thing, like
Yeah.
so that you can get into it cheap and then slowly upgrade to a carbon fuse or a mass and like still use the components. That's what North did, which
Yeah.
is really cool. That the fuse, the aluminum fuse, fits on the
You
carbon.
haven't spoken about North since we started. You know, I was waiting for that.
I haven't?
No, it was about time because
I'm pretty disciplined. Nobody wants to hear all my sales pitches.
no.
People
no.
are gonna eventually,
No,
come my way because they love my personality.
yeah.
Not my brands. But no, I was selling something to somebody the other day, and they're like, "Oh, I really want Armstrong, but I want the aluminum." And I was like, "Yeah, but you're really gonna get into it. I know you. You're gonna love it, and then you're gonna be left with this aluminum thing that you can't really grow
Upgrade.
into. You're gonna have to sell it, which it's gonna be worthless. You're not gonna get much money for it, and then you're out." Versus the North was, you can buy the full setup aluminum, and then you could buy a carbon fuse, and it
But-
fits on the aluminum mass. And
But
then
I
you could,
think their logic is like, if let's say he unfortunately stopped playing, but let's say your kid said, or you think, okay, my kid could play the piano, so are you gonna invest in an expensive piano right away, not knowing if he's gonna keep playing?
yeah,
Or so probably the parents, not the kids themselves, that would like the gear, have to kind of go for the cheaper stuff at
Yeah.
first.
No, for sure.
And then if they see that they keep doing it and enjoy it, then
Yeah.
so because until a certain age, since they whatever the money they make, probably cannot afford at least brand new gear. They have to go use gear, or the parents have to say like, okay, if that's what you want to do, that's the kind of sport, then maybe. But are you sure? Because it's expensive.
Yeah.
And if the kid is already like a swimmer or use a paddleboard in the past, or canoe, or love the ocean, then probably they're gonna go for it.
yeah,
But all the sports that are more like what the schools are kind of
Like soccer,
directing them
basketball.
towards are not towards the
Water
ocean, which is
sports.
kind of weird for an island. So
Yeah, I mean, you look
water's scary.
Yeah, and
I mean, like, well, you look at the coast. We don't have any lifeguards, right? We don't have like, it's just not really.
Yeah, but
It's
then
not really
then-
centered around that.
yeah,
Which is it's part of that, right?
Yeah.
Being comfortable going to the ocean, having these people watching over you. We don't have it here, so maybe people don't feel comfortable. If you're not really involved in the water, then why would you push people to go towards the water? I think it's just an evolution thing of like that also has to grow for all to grow. I think it's just one and one. I think there's an influence there of like
I
where
think it's developing with the now the surfing is in the Olympic. There is
Yeah.
a lot
Oh,
of
sure.
like now you guys were running on the beach for that contest that before no, I mean that, so things are definitely going to another direction, and people is going to be more seeing those on the beach, on videos in YouTube, or
Yep.
in the Olympics. Chopu is
So
going to be interesting
yeah,
in the French Polynesia. That's going to be sick.
that's gonna be interesting.
I just think Puerto Rico is like a tiny bit behind when it comes to like those sports. Like for example, you look at California or like in France, every school has a surf team. So all the kids get in the bus, they go to the surf spot, and they practice for competitions. Here in Puerto Rico, you have competition with the federation, but between schools, for example, there's no competitions.
There's no program.
So I feel like right now, for at least my school, like a surf club is starting to getting into place. So now more kids are starting to learn how to surf. They're buying surfboards. So it's fun to see how like now more people are getting interested in the sport. And so yeah, no, I mean for me it's fun too. You get more people to surf with you. So
I think you should be extremely thankful
yeah,
that you have the influence that you
Yeah.
have, the support that you have
yeah,
financially, and
No, for sure. Like when
athletically.
they were falling and bitching about like, oh, I just felt. I was like, you complaining and you surfing, or like you complaining and you winging.
Oh,
Are
you fell
are you
off my
serious?
$4,000 board. Oh, you poor little guy.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
No, I was lucky too. You know, being able to grow up and have the freedom to do what I wanted, and
yeah,
and to yeah. When you said earlier, I'm like, well, why isn't there more people get into it? Yeah, the family, like for kiting, when someone comes into the shop and their kid's 10, 11, 12 years old, and they're like, oh, I want him to learn how to kite. I'm like, yeah, but I can teach him how to kite,
Mm.
but for the next 3-4 years, he needs a support system. You
Yeah.
know, he needs either friends, parents. He needs us behind him all the time. You need that system. If not,
Yeah.
potentially pretty dangerous. Winging, I think less so. I think people could get into it a little bit more, but
Yeah.
there's the foil involved. I understand, but just being lost out to sea is
yeah,
drowning.
When I learned
know?
how to kite,
Yeah.
and it was here in Puerto Rico when I came, and I saw all those guys on the outer reef. I was just a surfer, so I was thinking like, wow, it takes a long time to paddle over there. But what happened if the kite, the line breaks or everything, or you cannot relaunch, the wind dies? I was like, that's a long way to go with a tiny board, because everybody was using twin tips.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So little by little, yeah, you have to make people more comfortable. And with the wing now, like the board has flotation, so worst case scenario, you just paddle back
yeah,
to
you just
shore.
paddle back.
Yeah.
So it's just getting better and better.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, we're lucky to have all this new tech and gear come in,
Yeah.
being able to test it, being able to try it out,
Yeah,
being able to just whatever. Doesn't matter what gear you're on. At least you have gear, you know.
Yeah. I'm happy with it.
And we're super fortunate to be in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So whether you realize it or not, because you grew up here, you were
Yeah.
born here.
Yeah, but equal.
But you're super lucky, and I love it here. That's why I'm here. There's
Cookie
just
co-
so much potential to be in the water all the time. And for all of you guys out there, come to Puerto Rico and foil with us. You'll bump into Ronan. He's got a helmet, so he'll be fine. But you'll bump
Yeah,
into
the
him.
coolest guy on the beach. It's me.
The French guy.
The French guy, the French
Yeah.
family.
But the community is awesome here. It's
It's
any
friendly.
sport. If you go surfing by yourself, it's fun, but not that fun.
Mhm.
Now the kite, you were going with everywhere.
Mhm.
But now the winging, since we can go to the same surf spot, but without being on top of
I
each
mean, it
other.
was
But
super fun this
so
afternoon.
this afternoon he was following me with the GoPro on the
Yeah,
mast.
I had the GoPro, and so I was like winging, and I was making sure I was right behind him all the time. And right when he would turn to catch the wave, I would catch the same one, and then take out the GoPro and like try filming him. It was
Oh,
super fun.
Oh, when we go towing, I mean, the whole
Yeah, towing's fun
team
too.
over there is really awesome. It's really cool. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a whole community.
Yeah.
We do all these different things. We all support each other, help each other. It's good to see them on the water.
Which floor did you just get?
Yeah.
Does it work? Should I get one?
Yes. And the answer is yes, you should.
Always.
100%. You should always get the new foil. It's an investment. Thanks, guys, for coming on the show.
No, Thanks
was a
to
lot
you.
of fun.
Problem.
You guys have anything special to share? Anything you have bottled up inside of you that you wanted to
No,
tell
I
the
think
people?
you have a
Wear your
awesome
helmet.
shop here. I'm super happy to have it. So when I needed a harness for the wing, it's cool to buy online, but online you cannot try.
No.
You have no idea what it looks like when you hold it in your hand, when you pass it to see if it fits, doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
can return it, try again, but it's not the same that coming to a store. Actually look at different things, touch it. Like a board, like we talked about a board, like maybe last week, where you look at it, and but when you take it in your arm, maybe it's
heavy or
yeah, more heavy than what you thought it would be. So it's always something that you don't see from a picture
Yeah.
or from online.
And you don't get to talk to Dylan.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the top.
If
of the
you are
cherry,
ordering online,
the cherry on
remember
the
it's from
top of the
Dylan.
cake.
Just kidding. No, but thank you. Yeah, I appreciate your guys' support. You working in the shop, you'll realize how
Yeah.
much work it is.
I'll be the ultimate window cleaner.
Window cleaner.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll see you guys on the show again, I'm sure. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having us. Next time, I wish Nolan is gonna stay.